Hello, what's up, and welcome back to the Relationship School podcast. I'm Jayson Gaddis, your host, helping you work through conflict and the blocks and the issues that keep you from having amazing relationships and perhaps an amazing partnership. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Hopefully you are a subscriber. If you've gotten value, we always appreciate a review on Apple Podcasts if you haven't done that. Yeah, this podcast is always pushes me to grow myself, to learn, to find new amazing humans to interview, which I'm working on again now. This is a solo episode. Once in a while I do these. Sometimes it's my wife and I, sometimes it's me, sometimes there's a relationship expert or some kind of neuroscience teacher or health guru or someone that's trying to help us with this area of our life. This episode is all about not settling. Okay, this will be a little shorter, but I recently posted something on Instagram and it seemed to resonate with a lot of people. So the punchline here is don't settle and at the same time have a realistic bar. What do I mean by that? I am going to talk about that here in a sec, okay? So I think it's when a lot of people, like in college and when I started dating seriously in my 20s, my orientation was looking for what's wrong with a woman instead of what's right. And the buzzword in my friend circle was, don't settle. And then as I matured, it became even stronger as you get closer to starting a family, getting married, having kids. You hear people say, don't settle. And yet, I think what those people are comparing that comment is coming from is a bullshit fantasy and an unrealistic, very high bar. And the fantasy, of course, as you know, is if you meet the right person or find the one, everything works out. And so don't settle for anything less than that. But that is so fucking vague and unclear that it's really hard to make out what that even means. Okay, I'm not supposed to settle, and I should just know when I found the one, and it should just kind of be good all the time. And hopefully I've done my job here educating you that, no, actually that's a fantasy. It's more like your unconscious steers you towards finding a good soulmate / healing mate / practice partner to grow through all of your relational injuries and to learn how to become a badass team. That is the journey of partnership, in my opinion. So we want to, when I say don't settle, it means don't settle for anything less than a couple ingredients, right? I have 3 listed here. And they're questions. I want you to write these down. Do we have enough shared values to make this last a long time? All right. You don't want to be total polar opposites, but you don't want to be the same. And you don't really have to worry about even thinking about that. What you want to worry about is, do we do things together? Do we have a shared interest and values that are awesome, that we both love? And I'm not talking about drinking alcohol. I'm talking about like nature is a shared value, or sports could be a shared value. We love to go to sports games and watch, and we love being fans and followers of sports teams, and it's both of us, not just my husband. So you have to have enough glue, right? The values have to be like glue. They keep you together during stressful times, and you got to imagine, okay, if this gets really shitty, could we still do this thing together, like travel? And if travel is super important to both of you, you will travel even when your relationship is compromised. Yeah. Okay, the next question, are they willing to learn how to work through conflict? Are they willing to learn how to work through conflict? Okay, do not settle for anything less than that. Why? Because if you settle for someone who doesn't want to work through conflict and doesn't want to own their part, you are screwed. Third question, can they take responsibility for their part in a fight? This is essential. You want to be with someone who's like, yeah, I have a part over here, and here it is. and I'm self-aware enough to know that, and I'm open to your feedback if I'm missing something. Okay, those 3 questions, which I called ingredients on Instagram, are vital for making a relationship work and last. Okay. Now, people settle. I also said people settle for shit relationships because they, and there's 3 of these, don't know any better, right? You grew up with compromised relationships, so that's kind of all you know. You grew up with a lot of neglect, so you think a normal relationship is where you have a partner that neglects your needs. Or you grew up in a relationship where fighting was the norm, so you find yourself in a relationship where fighting is what we do all the time. It's how we connect. Or you went after the opposite, which is we never fight because that was so scary, right? Second thing is people settle for shit relationships because they don't value themselves. I see this time and time again where people will be in a relationship with someone who isn't willing to do the work, and they won't leave because they don't want to be alone. And someone who values themselves is like, I'm willing to be alone because I like being with me. And I don't care how old I am, how young I am. I'm okay being with me, and I like who I am. So why would I be treated poorly? Third reason people settle for shit relationships, they're stuck in the fairy tale that I talked about earlier, right? That if you meet the right person, it just works out and we don't fight and everything just is going along smashingly and we just have a lot of success and we don't have to earn it or work for it or do anything. All right. Okay. Notice if that's you, if you're settling for kind of a shit relationship, right? Notice if any of that's true. Now, here is the bar that I want you to go after. You want to go after one of the core qualities that I have said on this podcast before is the most important quality in a future partner is someone who's willing to do the work required to create and build a secure and strong partnership over time. That is the single most important quality. I believe I did an entire podcast on that. So, your high bar that I want you to have is just a bar. Don't even call it a high bar. It's just a bar, which is a good enough partner. Because it's highly unlikely that you're going to find the magical, perfect human being that will check every single fucking box and where it all just works out. And it's just like, oh my God, that is rare in my experience. And I do meet people that find someone like that, but I haven't found out if 10, 20 years later, they're still like, wham, and it's still amazing. I often see that people think in the infatuation stage that this is awesome, only to find out later when the going gets tough that the relationship dissolved, it turns out. Yeah. So good enough, Winnicott talks about a good enough mother, for example, for parenting. And he was a psychologist, human development person, post-Freud and Jung, who I studied a teeny bit in graduate school. And I just love the concept of good enough. And it sounds maybe pejorative, or it might sound not respectful or something to your current partner or to you if your partner saw you as good. Hey, he's good enough. If Ellen was like, yeah, he's good enough. It's cool. But what we mean by that is she's willing to be with me in all of my neurosis and my faults and the places where I'm hard to love, because I'm hard to love sometimes. All right. So good enough is you're just a amazing human being, and I don't have some bullshit unrealistic expectations of you because you're a flawed human. You have challenges, you have insecurities, you have wounds. So let's go after good enough. But remember, the good enough, if we unpack that, it means the thing I said a second ago, which is the most important quality this good enough partner has is they're willing to do the work required to create and build over time a secure and strong partnership. Okay? All right. Good enough, friends, and don't settle. Some people think I'm contradicting myself, but hopefully this explains it, right? Your issues and your flaws will emerge in time, and you're lovable, okay? Just as you are. That's good enough. That's the good enough partners. You're lovable right now. You don't need to change fundamentally who you are. You're good enough for someone to love you and to accept you and to make this journey with you, right? So you want to get stuck with people who are good enough, but have that really important feature of, wow, they're willing to work through the hard stuff with me. And remember the shared values, that we do have enough in common that I could see us growing old together because this value is so deep. It's not like if we grow, it's going to change tomorrow. Like, for example, in my 20s, I was really into rock climbing and extreme skiing. I don't do that now. So my values dramatically shifted once I started working on myself and I became a parent. I go to the climbing gym once in a while. I hardly ever ski. I ski a little bit with my kids, but I don't do the extreme skiing thing anymore. So had that been the glue with a woman I met in my 20s who was really into extreme sports, we wouldn't be doing that together today. I could almost guarantee that. Okay. Hopefully this helps you as you aim your North Star towards not settling and going for good enough. As you know, I've dedicated my life to helping people with their relationships, right? I want to solve this problem so that all of you can work through your differences and have fulfilling, amazing, badass partnerships and relationships, family, coworkers, friends, whoever. And I have trained a ton of relationship coaches, almost 100 certified relationship coaches, to help you specifically work through your relationship challenges. So I want to invite you to a special deal we're offering to the podcast listener where you can get 50% off your first month of coaching with one of our amazing relationship coaches. Okay, if you're tired of therapy, it feels like that's going around in a circle, or you want to actually set goals and accomplish your relationship goals, hire a relationship coach. Okay, go to relationshipschool.com/get coaching now, and then use the coupon code FIRST50 to get the 50% deal off your first month of relationship coaching. Super psyched to have our amazing coaches serve you and help you get to the next level. Hey, thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Share one of these videos with a friend. We want to help the planet get their act together around relationships, and you are one of them, so thank you.